My dad would hate that. You got
Adios, turd.
What up, Doe? What
nice
up,
groove.
Doe? What up, Doe?
What up, Doe?
Is Detroit? What up, Doe? Special edition.
Riggs just lost. Yeah, what up, Doe? I like it.
Yeah. And we're here to talk some Lions and Tigers today. You feel me? Because it ain't really going on with the Pistons and the Redwings. But you know how we do. We start off every show. I'll let you know who in the building with us. Starting with
good afternoon, Nick Burton.
Start off with Jeremy. Let everybody know you is Jeremy.
I am smoking Jeremy B. I've been doing my own podcast about the Lions for 4 years. This year, I'm covering all Detroit sports. I'm covering all 4 teams daily at noon, Monday through Friday. I've got my NFL Roundtable talk show on Wednesday nights, my Lions Fan Cave chat on Friday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. And then I have a couple of new shows coming up. 9 p.m. is my Baseball Roundtable talks, where we talk all things around the league. On Sundays, I'm going to start my Pistons and Red Wings. And then on Sunday nights, I'm doing my fantasy football talk show. So,
all right.
I'm live 7 days a week, baby.
So, y'all know who he is, my bro. Greek.
What up, though? What up, though, man? It's the New Breed 313 Sports, 313 The New Breed Real Talk. Y'all like and subscribe to the channels, man. Just glad to be here with Detroit. What up, though, man? Because, I had to do the what up, though. So,
yeah.
Glad to be here. What up, though?
What up, yo? All right, let's get into some of the hottest topics right now we have in Detroit sports right now. Starting with, I'm all the way up too far. Starting with the Jahmyr Gibbs hold-in right now, and a lot of people don't know him and Bijan Robinson are going through contract negotiations to try to get paid up as they should. But let's hear what St. Brown got to say about Jahmyr Gibbs hold-in.
He's still in the building. He's still, at all the meetings and everything. So I think that the players understand, what's going on. Everyone kind of gets it. It's part of this business, but I think we're still out there practicing, doing our thing. Guys stepping up, Isaiah, Baki, Sailor. So giving other guys the opportunity too to maybe show what they can do. So it's just, it all works out for a reason.
So I take it didn't catch you guys by surprise?
No.
Start with you, Steve, man. How you feel about the Jahmyr Gibbs hold-in, and do you think they're gonna get this deal done?
I mean, the man's do his money. I mean, might as well just go ahead and just give it to him, man. I mean, ever since he went up in Madden, man, he been feeling himself. So you got to give him his money. But I feel the guy. I think that it would. And he was actually at practice. He didn't dress today, but he was at practice. So he was with the fans and signing autographs and stuff like that. So he was at practice. He just didn't dress up. But I think he wants to come here. I just think he just wants to get paid. And the man, and I'm it's a lot that's going to be like on his shoulders this year with David Montgomery going, now he's that main guy. He's going to get the majority of the carries. So it's going to be a lot on his shoulders. So that just means more money. And even though you got Pacheco as well, which it looked nice today as well, but Gibbs is that guy. This is what you sign up for. So to get that money, hey, you got to ball out. You got to ball out once you get that money, because that's the one thing about with some of these players. Once they get that money, then sometimes they kind of don't play up to expectations. But I don't feel that with Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he's going to play well, and I just think he gonna ball out this year. I think this probably gonna be his best season yet, and I'm ready. So just give Miss money. Just give Miss money.
Jeremy.
It's going to get done, and I think it's going to get done within the next couple of weeks. And the reason why is they're not going to wait for Behan to get paid. If they wait for Behan to get paid, it's going to set the market higher than what it is. All he has to do is get a little bit more than Devin White. That's what it's going to come down to, because right now Devin White is the number one guy, but he doesn't have number one stats.
Right.
Gibbs is a touchdown machine. He gets touchdowns whether it's in the receiving game or the running game. He's that electric. That's why I would technically, even if Behan gets paid first, I would pay him more than Behan. But if you get it done early, you're going to get him for less, which is going to equal more down the road for the Lions. And let's not get it twisted. Everybody was up in arms about how much that average per year was for Jack Campbell. And then when you see the breakdown, you're like, oh, this is cheap. It ain't nowhere near that average per year, because let's face it, our contract guy, he's a guru. He knows how to work them numbers to maximize it so the player's happy and it doesn't hurt the team in the long run.
Absolutely. I agree with you. I do think the deal is going to get done, especially when he's not practicing, but he's there. You feel me? He's still in the
he's still dabbing up guys on good plays. And Amon-Ra knows exactly what he's expecting, because that's his best friend on the team. He's been under Amon-Ra's arm ever since he's been here. How many times has he been on the St. Brown Brothers podcast with him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
so I do.
Everybody thought the same thing about not playing up to his potential last year for the first year of Amon-Ra's contract. He put that to bed. He did what he always do.
And I'm gonna tell y'all, fellas, I think the running back market has gotten, back up, especially with Saquon Barkley. Yep. Since his signing, I think the running back market got back up because of him and what he's paid.
Him and the Christian McCaffrey extension with the 49ers. Those two right there reset the market to make it to where the running back isn't seen as a tradable commodity anymore. It's not as replaceable as it used to be. If you've got a generational talent, and let's face it, I don't care what anybody says, Gibbs and Behan in their own rights, they're two different running backs, but they are generational talents.
Yeah, and I being at practice, because a lot of times when a player is holding out on his contract, he doesn't even show up to the practices. So,
right, and that's what I'm giving Behan and Gibbs credit for. They're actually showing up at the facility. They're still talking to fans. They're not hiding. They're not sitting there going, I don't want to be here. That's a sure sign they want to be with their team. The only thing that I worry about is guess who's probably starting week 1 for the Falcons for them? It's probably Jack Strand, because Cooper Rush just got there. Tua's hurt. Penix isn't medically cleared.
Mm-hmm.
None of the guys we traded for will start today. It's going to take them. They got to get a few more games in the minors before they're called up. Would you be able to see Jahmyr Hope by September call ups when it doesn't count towards the MLB roster for the year, because then you're not worried about him hitting that 42 game plateau? Absolutely. I think, and Jahmyr Hope, he's the right fielder we don't got. He's what we expected Kerry Carpenter to be.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get into the big Skubal trade. Next topic we got up. I'm gonna let you go first, Jeremy. The Lions went out and signed Super Bowl winning and All-Pro linebacker Devin White. Your thoughts on the signing?
It's a great signing, because Rolder looks like he might be out 2 to 4 weeks from what Dan Campbell said. It's nowhere near as bad as the media is making it out. He said he's going to miss some time, not he's going to miss some time. And we all know when they say it like that, what it means. Does it hurt? Yeah, it hurts his transition. But I think Devin White is a guy that can replace Rodrigo right now as a starter. And then you do that, and you throw in the guy we just picked up last week in Troy Reeder as your special teams rotational guy that comes in. We still got Nowaski. We still got Barnes. Of course, we got the captain and Jack Campbell. This linebacker room just became a strength. And if your front seven is a strength, your back four doesn't matter as much.
Steve.
I've been a fan of Devin White since he got into the league. I think we should have been involved for him a couple years ago, and I just think he adds leadership, he adds experience, and it's good for guys like Jack Campbell and Derek Barnes and everybody in the line within the linebackers. So he can definitely teach the other linebackers, hey, you do this scheme, or you got to do this scheme better. You got to do this route better. So I think he adds a something that we needed. And then with all the injuries that the Lions has had in defense over the last couple of years, it's well needed. It is well needed because we've been going through a lot of injuries the last couple of years, and that's been our downfall. But to have somebody like Devin White, man, I think I love this move, man. I expect him to have a nice season. I expect him to have a nice season. I got trust in him.
You're muted, Bandit.
My bad. I got my daughter over here, man. All right. Next topic we're going to start with, man, Steve, is Manu Ginobili. Wow. Manu Magoo.
Giovanni Manu.
Out for 13. Yeah, man, my bad.
Also known as the building block of Shamu. That guy's done. He won't be a Lion next year. This was his prove-it year. He had to prove he was depth at the guard position, which he did do in OTAs. But I don't know what he did. Nobody knows what he did. I think he tripped over a curb trying to walk into McDonald's to get a Big Mac. Whatever. The guy's overweight. He hasn't equaled up to the potential of what we wanted. And it makes that 2024 class look even worse after everything else that's happened the past two seasons. And you know what? Every GM is entitled to a bad draft class. I don't care what anybody says. It happens. We made some mistakes. But you know what's good about this is what we're hearing about Ennis Rakestraw at OTAs in camp. How he's been taking up to 30% of the boundary corner. Yep. Spelling DJ Reed when he has to come off, spelling Rocky Yasin when he comes off. And they're talking about how well he's using his hips and his transition to change direction and track the ball in the air to make a play on it. This is very, very good. If he ends up being the best corner that we got on the team by the end of the season, don't say I didn't say he had a chance, because he was a very physical press man corner at Missouri. Just an awful thing that happened with his injuries. And it's different injuries, and he actually bulked up during his rehab. I heard he's 15 pounds heavier. He looks healthier. Yeah. He fills his frame out better at that. What is he, like 6'1.5"? I think it is, almost 6'2". Mm-hmm. With a helmet on, he looks 6'4". So it's nice having a big corner that's looking healthy and doing stuff.
Steve, your thoughts?
The injury to Manu, it definitely hurts. But it just adds to the point to where it's a next man up mentality now. This is why you drafted a Blake Miller. This is why you have all these other offensive line. You have to have depth, and somebody got to step up. But yeah, I'm with Jeremy, man. I think he's pretty much done. You might have to just go elsewhere. You might just let him go. And you hate to let a guy go when he's down, but this is like one of them things to where if another injury happens, it's like, do you really want to take that risk and still trusting in that? And you don't want to rely on a guy who's injury prone. So, you just got to go to the next man up. And I just feel like like I said, it's a tough situation, but hey, they have to go elsewhere with this. And who knows if he even comes back, how he's gonna feel. If he is, if I'm the Lions, I would just say he's out for the whole season, just for him to get totally better and right.
Because when he come back, he's not going to start. It's not like he's going to jump him in the starting offensive lineman when he come back. So right now, he's just holding up a roster spot.
Daddy, you should be doing that.
Sorry about that.
So,
All right.
what do you guys think about what Dan Campbell said about Tyler Lacey on Friday at Saturday's press conference? Did you guys hear everything he said? How he's a pro's pro. He's been off and on a starter here during the injuries. He's everything we need opposite Hutchinson in certain formations because he's that big defensive end, not quite a DT, where it helps anchor that side of the line to make it so Hutch gets free. And with I believe he specifically said that 3-4 hybrid formation they use. So think about this. You got on that side, you're going to have Derek Moore or DJ Wanham and Tyler Lacey. That's a nice trio to have opposite Hutch. Ahmad Hassan
Yes, it is.
Been on the second team I've heard so far behind Hutchinson at the right defensive end position. So now it looks like we got somebody to take that 10 to 20% of the snaps to give Hutch the rest to stay fresh all the way through the game so he doesn't disappear in the fourth quarter. Because that's what has been happening even when he was good. When you're on the field 95% of the time, you can't have a 100% motor.
Yeah, and he's still even after that horrific injury, you definitely still don't want to put too much on him and make him injure himself again. But like you said, it's good that we have depth on that other side. It's good. And I like Derek Moore. I really do like Derek Moore. I think he can be a difference maker. He definitely can.
Jeremy was looking something up.
Mm-hmm. I just was, I'm going to look at it this way. Remember, the whole team disappeared for sacks. We were getting pressures for 5 weeks in the middle of the season. And it was exactly 5 weeks from Hutchinson's last sack, which was just before his contract extension. And then it was 5 weeks later. Do you know what's key about those 5 weeks? Aleem McNeil and DJ Reader did absolutely nothing at the defensive tackle position for those 5 straight weeks. They weren't beating their one-on-ones, let alone pulling double teams. So that made it so all the double and triple teams were hitting both guys on the outside. A lot of people miss that part of it. And those are the subtle things. And that also happened to coincide with the same time that Dan Campbell had to take over play calling of the offense, leaving a rookie defensive play caller out there when he's the field general. He's the one that covers all of it. He likes to delegate to his coordinators, but if he sees anything he can help, he helps them with it. We saw it the first year that Ben Johnson took over play calling. Dan Campbell was in his ear all year long. It wasn't just Johnson doing it.
Yeah, I'm expecting a big year for Williams this year. Taking over that Reader spot, especially when he lost weight in upcoming training camp. I think he's going to take a major step this upcoming year too. So,
yep. So I think with Tarik Williams back in, which while he was in, teams only average 2.7 yards per carry. Our run defense gets better, which is going to force them to let us pin our ears back on defense when they got to pass.
Yeah, I'm what Tarik Williams do this season. Now, he got the rookie year. Then, to go back to what Jeremy was saying before, too, with Aleem McNeil, it was times to where they put a Lee McNeil at the other side of Hutch. So it was like you saw that, you was like, what? Wait, why is he on the other side? So I guess, you know, they trying to figure out where Lee McNeil, because they had so much trouble on that other side. So they was just testing the waters. So it would just be good to Lee McNeil to just be in that end with Tyreek Williams and just be like, okay, this is what we gonna work with. We got to put some pressure on the quarterback, because you don't want to just always leave it on the corners. You don't want to do that, even though the corners should play defense. But at the same time, you got to put pressure on the football. You got to put pressure on the quarterback.
It's got to be way less than 4 seconds before you get there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, let's get into some baseball talk. Starting with, before we get to the big talk everybody talking about in Detroit and everything else like that, let's talk about Max Clark, his great start to his 2 games of his career. First outing he got up there, he got walked. Second, he got a hit. Then he got an RBI. Come back next game, get a home run, making plays in the outfield. I like him at the center position. I like how he moved buyouts into the infield. But I'm gonna start with you, Jeremy, man. Your thoughts on Max Clark beginning of his career for the Tigers?
We've been waiting for him to come up, and let's face it, he went 2 for 5. Got his first home run of his career yesterday. He's batting .556 with a 600 slug on base percentage. He had 2 RBIs his first game. He had 2 RBIs yesterday. This kid is exactly what we wanted all season. We've been calling for him since May, ever since Parker Meadows went down, and we brought up Wenzel Perez and Jahmyr Jones and that experiment that failed miserably.
Steve, your thoughts?
See, I like Max Clark, and you know he's batted well since, you know, coming with the Tigers. I know some fans are like, man, we could have waited till next year for him to come through and everything like that. But with the changes that the Tigers has made, you have to do this. You have to see how this plays.
And it doesn't kind of get them playing this year either, so you don't
right. And that's what fans were thinking. Like, man, is this gonna count within, you know, this season, or, you know, how's it gonna be? But we have to see how this kid plays, man. I mean, and you know, it was always the whole Clark McGonigal, and McGonigal has played well. So now you got to see how good Max Clark has played. You know, he's played well in the field. He's played well hitting the ball. And I know it's the A's, and I understand it's the A's, but I would just like to see him play against, you know, tougher competition to see how he really plays. So that's my thing. And I'm not knocking the A's, but they taking care of business. But I just want to see how he does against tougher competition and also divisional teams as well on how he plays. Because sooner or later, he's going to cool down. I just want to see how the fans are going to react when he does cool down, how they're going to react to that. But he's a good player. He's a heck of a player.
I think he's giving them the spark right now that the Tigers need, you feel me? Especially being a couple game out of the wild card and everything in the division. Him bringing in is a spark, because you see he already cool with everybody in that locker room. Him and McGonigal already got a relationship, playing with each other in the I can't even think of the league right now, but yeah. So I think he's gonna bring that spark that the Tigers need.
I still think with the Tigers, they putting too much on these utility players to be more than what they are. And they're a lot of times they're nothing more but utility players. You're trying to make them more than that, and that's just what they are. And you can only get what you can with them. Like Jeremy was saying, you know, you try to get a lot from Wenzel Perez and Jahmyr Jones, and we was thinking, oh man, Jahmyr Jones he always comes up in the clutch, and this year he didn't come up good in the clutch. So, you know, it happens. But this is how baseball is.
All right, let's talk about the trade that went down that everybody's talking about. I want to get y'all thoughts about it. Jeremy, I'll start with you first. The Dodgers.
It could have been better, yes, but you know what? It's a rental player that might get to start 10 games. And the return we got, if you look at it by the numbers, is almost the exact same thing the Yankees got when they traded away Aroldis Chapman, who actually gets to appear in more games than Tarik Skubal does. The problem is with Ohtani having the right elbow issue, and he's got knee tightness in the left knee. He's not even batting or playing right now. I believe he's on the 15-day DL is what it is. So they needed an ace other than Yamamoto because they started losing more games than they were winning over the last couple of weeks. Now, granted, they had a 16-game lead in the division when all this went down, but if they got a guy like Skubal in the playoffs, if Ohtani's not 100% right with his elbow, they can just use him as a DH where he can play every day.
Steve, your thoughts on the trade?
As a Skubal fan, I hate that we did trade him. But, I mean, I knew it was going to happen. But I'm just eager to see what we got for him, how these other guys are going to play, and if they're ready. Because sometimes when we trade away our good players, the guys we trade for them, they don't last long, or we got to send them to the minors, or we have to do something. Or sometimes they don't even be with the team within a month. They're gone. So, and I just hate, this is just another pattern, and I spoke about this before. I just hate the fact that we have pitchers, our best pitchers, and we keep trading them. We did that with Verlander. We did that with Scherzer. Now we're doing that with Skubal. And I hate that it seems like we can never keep our best pitchers. We just can't. And I hate to see that, but I understand this is a business, and it was bound to happen. Man, but this just makes the Dodgers just even better, man. It's almost like an all-star team they got up in there. It just don't make no sense. They definitely are a dynasty. But with this, they could be even more of a dynasty. So but even with the pitching they have, you still got to have the hitters to score runs as well. So, and we know how baseball playoffs can be, and anybody can be beat. So it's, you can be the best team. We've seen it in all sports where the best team could go to the playoffs and then they don't even go to the World Series. So it happens. But I'm hurt that he gone, but I just knew that he was going to leave. But, it burns my heart that he's gone. But
I'm with you. I ain't want him to leave me. I was hoping that he'd play the rest of the year out and we signed him in the offseason. I really was hoping that, man. Yeah, right? Like, last time I get to wear my Skubal jersey, before I got to put it on the wall. So, before we head out here, I got my bonus questions for y'all. Who do y'all think next the Tigers is going to trade before the trade deadline this upcoming Monday?
I got 3 names for you. Number 1, we scratched him from the start on Friday, and he was healthy. That's Casey Mize. Number 2, Gleyber Torres. Number 3, Jeff Flaherty. I think those are the 3 up, and I pray to God we can get a snack-sized can of Pringles for Canley Jensen because I'm tired of him throwing a gas can at baseball hitters.
Steve, man, your thoughts? Who you think?
I think, I honestly, and I gotta say it's Gleyber Torres. I think he's gonna be the next one to go. I really think so. Even though he's been a spark for the Tigers since he's been here, but I think they're gonna find some way to trade him. I think it's gonna be to the point to where the Tigers they want to start fresh. They definitely, and you can see that by them trading Skubal, but I feel that they're going to start fresh with it. They're going to just build their team around McGonigal and Clark and Dingler and a few other guys. So they just gonna feel like they just gonna give up Torres. And I'm with Jeremy. I think eventually they're gonna trade Jack Flaherty. I mean, you almost have to, because when he pitches, he only pitches 3, 4, 5 innings. And it's just like, it's like you got to have pitchers that's going to pitch longer than that in this league. And Tigers have had a history over the last couple of years where they have pitchers that they have in a lineup and they only pitch 2, 3 innings. And you can't do that. You got to have trust in your starters. But I feel like it's going to be Torres and Flaherty. And I wouldn't even be surprised if they mess around and trade Cater Montero too. They might do that too.
Cater, for the most part, has been like our most consistent bullpen and starter when he's been in the starting rotation. He's been more consistent than Framber Valdez, which that signing looks bad now, but at the time it looked great because of what you saw out of Framber Valdez last season. I want him to get back to that form, which he kind of did last night. I want it to be more consistent. And then we can stop hating on the signing, because we, as fans, we've been dying for Scott Harris and Chris Ilitch to open up the checkbook and pay some players. Well, they finally did. It just wasn't working out.
I think they signed him, they knowing that they was gonna get rid of Skubal.
I don't think they knew they were getting rid of Skubal. And, and when everybody scoffs about that $250 million contract rumored that we offered last year, what you don't understand is it might have only been for 5 or 6 seasons, not 10 like he wanted. All you're doing is hearing the number and going, oh, they're lowballing him. We weren't going to sign him because of his injuries to a 10-year contract. And this morning, Skubal did a press conference. Guess where he was going next year? What he was going to turn down anything Detroit offered. He wanted to go to L.A.
Yep.
I wish him nothing but the best of luck, because he did do a lot to the Tigers. You feel me? Outstanding games. I remember I was at the Cleveland game when he did the 10Ks and everything else like that, playoff game. So I respect Skubal, man. I do wish him the best of luck.
I just hope our rotation doesn't mentally fall apart like it did in May when Skubal went out with the loose bodies that had to be removed, because that month he was gone and everybody said, oh, he's going to be gone 3 months or whatever. No, it was a month, but we went 6-22 in that month. Ever since he's been back in the rotation, we've been winning over 60% of our games as a whole. And that's huge. The problem is we put ourselves in too big of a hole in May at 6-22.
And I think with certain fans, they're going to be like, well, we're only down. We're only up. We're only down 6 games in the division. We still got a chance, but
we do.
But
we're down 5.5 after last night.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's always a chance, but you can come back from the division. But we all know teams in our division, they come alive in the second half of the season, especially the Guardians. They come alive. And then with the White Sox, they're inexperienced. They're a young team. They ain't got nothing to lose. But, I mean, the way they've been playing, they playing lights out. And if you really look at it, they remind me a little bit of how the Tigers was a couple years ago. They kind of remind me of that team.
Guardians usually are a good second half team, but in their last 10, they're 2-8, which is the worst record in the division over the last 10 games. There's something going on in Cleveland that ain't right. And I think the whole Clausen thing, losing him because of that whole gambling scandal, Jose Ramirez going out, he hasn't looked the same since he came back.
Right.
So they got a lot going on over there. And their pitching, the bullpen has not been as good as their starters. They have the same problem we do. All of the contending teams, and if you look at it because of the stats, there's 29 contending teams in the league right now. And all of them need the same thing: reliable left-hand or right-hand power bat and reliable bullpen help. And if this River Ryan gets to come up and be part of that bullpen help in September when the call-ups happen. There's a couple other guys we could bring up that have been talked about. Max Anderson, Bryce Rayner, that shortstop that's 6'5", but he only plays shortstop. So, but we know McGonigal can play second and third, so that's not a big deal. We can move him to make room for Rayner. And then the left-handed pitcher that's been tearing it up that they say might have been Skubal all along in the minors for the Tigers, Jeff Miller. This kid's lighting it up at 97 miles per hour with his whip is like a 1.29. I want to see him get called up too.
Yeah,
so what you saying is a chance
too.
There's a chance. I'm not saying we're winning the World Series because I think the Dodgers just won the World Series with that trade. But there's a chance we could end up being the one opposite them if we keep going and keep rolling.
And I think the only chance
more than we lose.
And I think the only chance they have is the division. I think that wild card is going to be too much for them to overcome. I mean, you got to overcome teams that's in the AL East and then in the West. And I think it's going to be too much to overcome with the Tigers. I think the only chance they have is probably to win the division. I don't think they have a chance in getting the wild card spot. I don't.
The Boston Red Sox are really good right now. They've been hot since just before the All-Star break. They're 9-51. The Baltimore Orioles have one more win than us because, well, we lost to them when we shouldn't have. But I love what we got from the Orioles for a guy that we DFA'd, that if they'd have waited 24 hours, they just could have put in a waiver wire pickup on. But instead, they said, okay, let's throw them some prospects and get them because their starting catcher to start the year was out. The next catcher got hurt. They were calling up their AAA guy. So they needed somebody. And with the way Eduardo Valencia played the last two games while Dingler was out before the All-Star break, they said, let's get him. And look at this. I mean, that Zach Barnhart is a catcher. He's having a good year there in the AAA or AA Bowie Sox. The Edison Polino one, he is a great second baseman, and Luis Perales is a relief pitcher.
We will see. There's a chance.
There's always a chance. There's always a chance. Yeah, of course there's a chance.
Yeah, there's a chance. There's a chance.
But you know what? A chance to, at best, be second place. That's what there is. And I'm okay with it.
All right. I appreciate y'all coming on today, man. You know, we were doing before we let out the show, let you people know where they can find you at. Bree, man, you already know what's up, man. Let them know where they can find you at, bro.
Well, you know, you can find me at the New Breed 313 Sports, 313 The New Breed, Real Talk. Definitely appreciate being on here, man. You're going to see me on more episodes here. And definitely, please, air mattress sales is going up these days. I just had to understand it. It's going up.
Because they're cheaper than the real mattress.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Dribble.
Jeremy, man, let them know where they can find you at, bro.
Well, you can find my writings at the South Florida Tribune underneath the contributor writings for the Motor City Tribune, where I write about the Lions, some Tigers, some Red Wings, some Pistons. You can find me also on my channel, which is the KCB Sports Network, where I'm soon to be live every day of the week.
I appreciate y'all coming on, man. My daughter ready to go play. Told her I'm going to take her to the park, so that's what that is.
Yeah, you can't say that and go live.
Yeah, everybody, do us a favor, man. Hit that subscribe button, man. Appreciate y'all coming on and watch, man. Y'all have a blessed day. We out. Peace.